Story Corner, presented by Jennifer. Belisara, Book 2, Valkrist's Flight. Hours later, Dowager was still struggling and gasping for breath as Dr. Dwyer and Walt worked to deliver her foal. The foal was being stubborn about leaving Dowager's womb. The mare whinnied in pain and then groaned as she pushed. Only the foal's front legs had come out so far. Dr. Dwyer tried to pull the legs gently towards Dowager's hind hooves, trying to rotate the foal into a better position. But again the foal resisted, and the vet shuffled back. "I can't get a hold on the foal's head," he admitted. "The mare is losing blood fast." "Do what you can, Doctor," Uncle Morgan replied, sounding worried. Sarah had disappeared, and Emma watched the delivery with Brian from just outside the stall. Emma winced as Dowager screamed in pain, and she moved closer to the mare's head. Dowager was lying on her side on a pallet of straw. Emma stroked Dowager's ears. "It'll be okay," Emma whispered soothingly to the horse. "It's okay. Your foal will be born safe and strong." "We need to pull again," Dr. Dwyer announced. "Brian, help me." Brian and the veterinarian each took hold of a leg, using towels to get firmer purchase on the slick limbs. "On the count of 3, Dr. Dowager said firmly but gently. He counted down, then he and Brian heaved on the legs. This time the foal slid forward, his head emerging. Dowager groaned, too exhausted to cry out. Emma kept whispering to her, stroking her head as she shuddered. Slowly, as Brian and Dr. Dwyer pulled, the foal's shoulders slipped free, followed by the long length of his body, stopping at the hips. Brian and the doctor paused to catch their breath for the final pull. Dowager's eyes rolled up into her head, and her breathing became sharper. "Again," Dr. Dwyer instructed, and he and Brian pulled the foal once more. His hips sprung out, trailed by his hind legs. The foal was out in the world. Emma peered over at him. Out of the amnios, the thin gray membrane that had covered him, she could see the color of the foal. He was a silvery white, very different from Cookie's rich chestnut. The identity of his sire was still a mystery. The foal rocked onto his breastbone, whimpering. He tucked his legs under him, trying to stand, but managed only to sit up. He wasn't expected to stand for an hour or so. Dowager wasn't paying any attention to her fall. She kept her head in Emma's lap, her mouth foaming, her eyes still rolled up, her breathing harsh. With the foal stable, Dr. Dwyer turned his attention to Dowager. "She's lost so much blood," the vet said. "Your foal is here, and safe," Emma whispered to Dowager. "He's beautiful." "We're losing her," the vet warned. Emma stroked Dowager's mane with a final gasp. The black thoroughbred closed her eyes and died in Emma's lap. That night, Emma cried herself to sleep. The foal was healthy, but Emma was so devastated by Dowager's sacrifice in birthing her colt. Even though Emma knew she would have to get up in a few hours to help bottle feed the new foal, she fell into a deep sleep, and she dreamed. Like the beach dream, this one was so vivid it felt more like a vision. Hundreds of horses of every breed, size, and color approached the Daymare Ranch through the misty night. Emma knew they had come to pay their respects to Dowager, and she found it almost unbearably sad. There was no greater sacrifice than that of a mare giving her life for her foal, and the horses were there to honor her. The horses surrounded the stables and let out a moan in unison, raising their heads. The mist covering the ranch swept away, and a moonbeam shone down on the still form of Dowager. In the sky, a milky infinity of stars. The newborn colt, shining silvery in the moonlight, wobbled towards his dame, while the other horses looked on. The colt nuzzled his mother's nose, sniffing. Emma's heart leapt when Dowager raised her head and met her foal's muzzle. Joy flooded into Emma watching the beautiful reunion. Then the foal broke away from Dowager and hurried to Emma's side. Emma leaned against him as the other horses gathered around Dowager, surrounding her in a tight group. The horses raised their heads again, and as a single body they began to gallop away. The foal remained beside Emma as the horses stepped into the air, charging into the night. The herd raced towards the stars, towards ribbons of multicolored light streaming in the heavens. The waves of color swallowed up the horses, and the aurora borealis faded out, leaving only twinkling points of stars. Next to Emma, the foal let out a heartbreaking whinny.